How's everybody doing? Outstanding. Welcome to Randsanity, episode 191. 191 days of doing this, bringing you the news of the day when it comes to music and entertainment, births and deaths, and sometimes some of the crazy shit that happens along the way. I'm your host, Randy Malloy, and this is Randsanity. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, and smash that like button. Like, smash it. Not just once, many times. Beat it. Beat it until your finger is raw. That's how that works. Because you want to kill the button. It's an evil button. Evil. Evil. Burn it with fire. No, don't burn it with fire. I don't want to start a burning things with fire trend. Just saying. All right? Nothing too crazy exciting in my world today. I did a little bit of work today. Went to Lowe's today in my normal thing. Went to the hardware store, bought some stuff, drove around. Didn't get into car accidents. Didn't see any too much crazy shit because, that's how that works sometimes. It's a little bit warmer today here in Columbus, Ohio, and it's December the 8th. So tomorrow is officially my birthday. I'm excited to have made another lap around the sun. So that's always nice. That's a nice state. What state? A state of confusion. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. Columbus, Ohio. That would be the state I am in. So state of confusion? Just saying. Anyway, all right. So let's get started. We're going to jump in because there's a bunch tonight. I don't want to do this for the next 2 hours, maybe 40 minutes. Okay. First one, 1961, the Beach Boys' first single ever, Surfin', was released on Candix Records, Candix, Candix. Never heard of that label in my life. It was a small label based in Los Angeles. It's probably why, 61, I was not in the industry, so I don't know what the hell was going on then. On the strengths of the song's performance alone, in the Southern California market, Capitol Records, who is there in Los Angeles, they've got that great Capitol record building. I've been in that many a times. They signed the group. That became the surfing sound of California. Other surfing songs would surely follow, like Surfing Safari, Surfing USA, and Surfer Girl. The Beach Boys had that whole surfing thing down, and they invented surf rock. Now, this is a legend that I think Frank Sinatra had said they took this to his grave. In 1963, Frank Sinatra Jr., Frank Sinatra's son, was kidnapped at gunpoint from a hotel in Lake Tahoe. Oh, wow. Man, that went fast. Hold on. I got to see what's going on with my camera over here. All right. Now, see? That's why I have multiple cameras, so I can change lenses if I need to. Anyway, Frank Sinatra Jr. was kidnapped from a hotel in Lake Tahoe. He was released 2 days later after Frank Sinatra paid out a ransom of $240,000. That's some serious money back in 1963. I don't know what it translates today, but it's probably over $1 million. The kidnappers were caught a couple days later, and they were given long sentences. Now, in order for him to communicate with the kidnappers in 1963, he had to use a payphone. So Frank Sinatra had a roll of dimes in his pocket that he could deal with throughout the ordeal, so he could always, click them into the payphones. Apparently this became his lifelong habit, and it's said that he died with a roll of dimes in his pocket and even was buried with a roll of dimes. So, yeah, that's one of those weird things. I have nothing in my pocket except a Sharpie. I always have a Sharpie in my pocket. It's just one of those things. I've had a Sharpie in my pocket for 30 years. I probably always carry a Sharpie. You'll never catch me without a Sharpie because I can always write on something. If I need to sign something, need to autograph something, I need to take a note. Sharpies wrote on everything pretty much, so I always carry a Sharpie. Highly recommended you carry Sharpies. Just saying. In 1966, the Beatles, working at Abbey Road Studios in London, Paul McCartney overdubbed his lead vocals for When I'm 64. Yes, it's my birthday tomorrow, and I am not 64, so fuck off. The Beatles then set about remaking new John Lennon song Strawberry Fields Forever, December the 8th, 1966. Beatles News. Singer Graham Nash in 1968 left the Hollies, and he started to work with David Crosby and Stephen Stills, when they would go on to form Crosby, Stills, and Nash. And eventually, Neil Young would add himself to that lineup, and it became Crosby, Still, Nash, and Young. Jimmy. In 1969, Jimi Hendrix was on trial in Canada for drug possession. Now, Jimi Hendrix told a Toronto court that, I quote, "I had only smoked pot 4 times, I only snorted cocaine twice, and I only took LSD no more than 5 times." He told the jury this, and that he had now outgrown drugs. They found him not guilty. So, you know, if you get popped by the cops, just be like, "I've outgrown drugs. Sir, you're 50 years old." Right, I've outgrown them now. Now it's time. I got to that point and I've outgrown them. I mean, yeah, come on. What are you going to do, right? I mean, just saying. He outgrew drugs. Fair enough. Fair enough. In 1973, the band Roxy Music had their first #1 album with Stranded. It went to the top for 1 week. The sleeve featured a Playboy Playmate of the Year model, Marilyn Cole. She was the magazine's first full frontal nudie centerfold. Now, Roxy Music had some great, great songs. If you are not familiar with Roxy Music, go pop it in. Go check out some Spotify or YouTube music and Google Roxy Music. They've got some good stuff now. We talked about this last night. 1976, the Eagles released their 5th studio album, Hotel California. It was their first album with guitarist Joe Walsh. Wait, what's this back here? What? Oh, wait, there, look at that. It's Joe Walsh Way. Why do I have Joe Walsh Way? Well, if you don't know why I have Joe Walsh Way, it's because, you can't see it on the camera. There it is. It's the love Joe Walsh Way. Because when Joe was here for Vets Aid, we got to meet Joe Walsh. It was all Ohio artists, 9 Inch Nails, The Breeders, Black Keys, Joe Walsh, Dave Grohl of Foo Fighters. Anyway, Joe Walsh, who would replace founding member Bernie Linden. The album topped the U.S. charts for 8 weeks. That was non-consecutively, meaning it wasn't all in a row, but at the 20th Grammy Awards, the Eagles won a Grammy for Hotel California, which won Record of the Year, and worldwide sales now stand at over 32 million sales for that one. That's a really good album. Again, if you're an Eagles fan, highly recommend Hotel California. Now this one I'm like, okay, really? An hour wait and people are rioting. In 1977, 4 people were arrested after a riot broke out when Blondie didn't arrive for a gig in Brisbane. Over 1,000 Australian fans had waited over an hour for the group to appear on stage. Woo! Have you ever been to a Snoop Dogg concert? I mean, seriously, Snoop Dogg never shows up on time. I mean, he's always late. I mean, every time I've seen Snoop, he's never been on time. Ever. It's because he's out burning blunts, smoking 80 blunts a day. 80 a day. We did that math. We talked about that. That's 80 grams if he's smoking just skinnies a day. 28 grams is an ounce. That's like almost 3 ounces a day, people. Okay? 3 ounces of weed a day, Snoop. Just saying. Anyway, the fans waited for over an hour for the group to appear on stage. The gig was canceled due to the singer Debbie Harry, Blondie, being unwell. I actually had to get on stage once in front of a sold-out crowd. We had about 5,000 people. And the headlining band of our show, the show we were putting on, was sick. I went that backstage and, like, throwing up. And everyone's like, "What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" I was like, "I'll do it." It's like, "Okay, who are we going to do? What are you?" I'm like, "I'll do it." It's like, we're going to have to. I was like, "Is anyone even listening?" I said, "I'll take care of it. All right? Everyone just shut up. Just stop yelling and screaming, and everyone just stop running around your chickens, like chickens with heads cut off. Just calm down. I'll do it." So I walked on stage. Everyone's like, woo! I'm like, hey. I'm like, hi, I'm Randy Malloy. I'm like, how's everyone doing? I said, I hope you enjoy the show so far. I said, unfortunately, I have some bad news. I said, the lead singer is sick. I said, I was just backstage and throwing up. They want to perform, but they are literally unable to do it. Cannot come out on stage. I said, so unfortunately, we're going to have to say goodnight, and this is going to be the end of the show. You guys got 4 great bands. Sorry, the 5th one could not perform. But again, the lead singer is just absolutely sick and cannot do it. A couple people were like, what, boo? I was like, we've all been sick. I said, you've all had a cold. You've all, had a virus at some point. I'm sure none of you have been immune to this. I said, they're sick. I said, you really can't do anything about it. If someone is sick, they want to perform. That's what artists want to do. They want to get on stage and entertain you. So they just can't do it. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. That was like the least fun thing I had to do. But yeah, you got to do it. So gigs get canceled. Bands get unwell. They're just people. In 1979, Styx went on to #1 in the U.S. singles chart with Babe, the group's only U.S. #1. It made it to #6 in the United Kingdom. All right, we'll get to the first of our things. 1980, December the 8th, John Lennon was shot 5 times by 25-year-old Mark Chapman outside the Dakota building in New York City where John Lennon and Yoko Ono lived. Chapman had been waiting for Lennon outside the Dakota apartments since mid-morning. He had asked for an autograph earlier in the day. Lennon went out and did a photo shoot with Annie Leibovitz. And she was the last person to professionally see John Lennon and take photographs of him on the day of his death. Lennon was pronounced dead from a massive loss of blood at 11:30 p.m. Chapman had said that he shot the former Beatle because he wanted to steal his fame, stating that now he was bigger, nobody than he was before. He also revealed he planned on killing for 3 months. 3 months he planned on killing him. And he considered murdering other celebrities who he thought were phonies. Apparently Chapman planned this thing for a while. He actually signed his last time clock, John Lennon. Basically about 5 p.m., he got the autograph from Lennon, who signed his Double Fantasy album. So he actually met Lennon. When Lennon got back at about 10:50 in a limousine, that's when Chapman was waiting for him. As he walked through the archway of the building to the Dakota, he was shot twice in the back and twice in the shoulder at close range. Lennon was dead at 40 years old at approximately 11:30 p.m. on December the 8th. Yoko Ono said there'll be no funeral for John. Basically that they would have a silent vigil of prayer and inviting people to pray wherever they're located in that situation. And she asked instead of flowers, people could donate to John Lennon's favorite personal charity foundation, the Spirit Foundation. His remains were cremated and they were scattered in the ashes in New York Central Park, where now Strawberry Fields is created. Chapman avoided going to trial. He never had to stand trial. Ignoring his advice from his lawyers, he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 20 years to life. He's still in jail. Every time he goes for parole, basically they still think he's crazy as a coconut, so they don't let him out, which is probably a good thing. But yes, so 40 years ago, 1980 is when it actually happened. So, yeah, that's, 45 years ago. John Lennon, dead on this day, 1980. 1984, Frankie Goes to Hollywood were #1 on the UK singles chart with The Power of Love. It was the group's #1, third time. And it was their final #1. This made them the first group since Jerry and the Pacemakers to have a UK #1 for the first 3 singles. Funny enough, on this day is Paul Rutherford's birthday of Frankie Goes to Hollywood. He's 67 today. So on his birthday, his song went to #1. So you have to love that one. In 1984, Vince Neil from Motley Crue was involved in a car accident in Redondo Beach, California, which killed Nick Dingley from Hanoi Rocks and injured 2 other passengers. Neil was later sentenced to 30 days in jail, 5 years probation, had to pay $2.6 million in restitution to the victims of the crash. Neil got out of jail after 15 days for good behavior. But you know you did something fucked when you have to pay $2.6 million in restitution, because clearly it was his fault. 1995, our favorite rock star and sound star, Courtney Love, appeared on the ABC TV show 10 Most Fascinating People, telling the presenter that she wished she had done 8,000 million things differently to have prevented the death of her husband, Kurt Cobain. Okie dokie, Courtney Love. Just saying, Courtney Love. That's all. In 2000, a plaque commemorating the 20th anniversary of John Lennon's death was unveiled outside his childhood home in Liverpool. In 2003, UK sales of 7-inch singles had increased by 84% on the previous year. The report claimed that bands such as The Darkness, The Strokes, and of course The White Stripes had boosted sales by releasing special limited edition 7-inch records. So Jack White has his own studio and presses those records. And he's definitely been a huge contributor to bringing back vinyl to a lot of people's collections. Now, again, more crazy shit that happened, okay? 2004, Columbus, Ohio, former Pantera guitarist Daryl Dimebag was killed after a man stormed the stage at the Damage Plan show at the Alrosa Villa here in Columbus. Nathan Gale, 25 years old, began firing at the band and crowd. He was shot and killed by a police officer that arrived shortly after the shots were fired. Now, basically, Damage Plan was performing at the Alrosa Villa nightclub in Columbus, here in Columbus, Ohio. Nathan Gale, who was a deranged fan apparently, rushed onto the stage as the band played its first song. Now, Abbott shot Daryl multiple times with a Beretta 9mm semi-automatic, killing him instantly. Basically shot him in the back of the head. The band's head of security, Jeffrey Mayhem Thomas, tackled this guy. Also was fatally shot in an ensuing struggle. A fan, Nathan Bray, also was killed as he attempted to aid Abbott and Thomas, as were Eric Hawk, an employee of the Alrosa Villa, who tried to disarm Gale when he was reloading. 3 others were wounded before police officer James Nigmeyer entered the club and shot Gale once at close range with a 12-gauge shotgun, killing him instantly. Abbott was pronounced dead at the scene at age 38. Thousands of fans attended his public memorial. The guest list included Eddie Van Halen, Corey Taylor, Jerry Cantrell. Abbott was buried alongside his mother, Carolyn, and at the Moore Memorial Gardens in Arlington, Texas. Gene Simmons donated a Kiss casket for the burial, and Eddie Van Halen donated his original black and yellow striped 1979 Carvel Bumblebee guitar, which was featured on the back cover of Van Halen 2. It included in the casket. A few weeks prior to his death, Abbott had met Van Halen and asked him about a replica of the Bumblebee. Van Halen said at the funeral, "Dime was an original, and only an original deserves the original." That happened here, Columbus, Ohio, 2004 on December the 8th. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I remember that one. That was a That was a big thing. Dimebag Darrell shot and killed in Columbus, Ohio. Yikes. Wild stuff. Wild stuff. In 2013, Metallica played a gig inside a dome in the Argentine Arctic base Carlini, thus becoming the first band ever to play in all 7 continents. During the concert, audio was transmitted to an audience made up of competition winners from Latin America through headphones. Staged in conjunction with Coca-Cola Zero, someone's got to pay for this shit. It was the second ever gig to take place on the continent, following a performance in 2007 from a group of musical scientists called Nutatak, a British Antarctic survey Rothier service station, as part of their Live Earth Climate Change Awareness concert. Yeah, I'm sure that was a huge hit. Lots of people picked that one up. Lots. Oh, congratulations, Mick Jagger. 2016, Sir Mick Jagger at this point became a father again. You ready for this one? At the age of 73, after his 29-year-old girlfriend, ballerina Melanie Hamrick, gave birth to a boy in New York City. Mick Jagger already had 7 children whose ages were from 17 to 45, and he became a great-grandfather in 2014. That would be so strange. Imagine having that's my sibling, and you're as old as a parent would be. Just saying. It seems a little strange. That's just me. Just me. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. Just saying. 2019, superstar MC and emo rap pioneer Juice WRLD died at just 21 years old. Chicago born, he was a vital part of the wildly influential SoundCloud movement, parlaying his internet celebrity into a record deal with Grade A Productions. Interscope Records picked up in 2017. In 2020, his third studio album, Legends Never Die, debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, becoming one of the most successful posthumous albums of all times. Juice WRLD died in the Chicago airport of codeine and oxycodone toxicity. Death by misadventure. That's what I label that as. Death by misadventure. Just saying. That's all I can tell you. All right, now this is just some crazy shit right here, okay? Polestar reports in 2023 that Taylor Swift's concert tour brought in $1.4 billion in gross sales for its first 60 shows. $1.4 billion for the first 60 shows. Overall, the top 100 global tours brought in more than $9 billion. In 2023, gross sales were up 46% from 2022, which had itself seen record spending. Singer Beyonce and Bruce Springsteen rounded out the top 3 concerts of the year. And in 2024, Swift thanked her fans for making the Eras Tour the most exciting, powerful, electrifying, intense, and challenging experience of her life. She played at the closing show in Vancouver after kicking it off in Arizona in March in 2023, ending on December 2024, with a 44-song set list that lasted more than 3 hours. Okay, these are just crazy numbers, okay? Again, I'm not a huge Taylor Swift fan, but you got to give this woman props. 10.1 million tickets were sold for the tour's 149 shows, spanning 5 continents, 2 years, and became the first tour in history to surpass $1 billion in ticket sales. At its conclusion, the figures totaled $2.7 billion. That's crazy. Taylor Swift, ladies and gentlemen. She knows how to make that happen, man. I'm telling you, she knows how to make it happen. That is some substantial ticket sales right there. I mean, substantial ticket sales. Thank you, Taylor Swift. All right, a couple other things that happened on this day. The Deer Hunter, the movie The Deer Hunter, starring our good friend Christopher Walken and Robert De Niro, premiered in 1978 in Hollywood, California. In 1984, on December the 8th, 4 years to the day of John Lennon's murder, basically, Ringo Starr hosted Saturday Night Live. I was trying to find out if he did anything that was in honor of John Lennon. I was like, that was kind of weird. Just, I don't know. Did they pick that day intentionally? I don't know. I didn't figure that one out to see it. So anyway, I was just a little bit like, odd. All right. Births on this day. Actor and musician Sammy Davis Jr. He would be 100 years old today. 100. Sammy Davis Jr. He died at the age of 65, but he would have been that. Frederick Toots Hibbard of Toots and the Maytals. Toots and the Maytals. Great reggae. If you like reggae, go check out Toots and the Maytals. He would have been 78. Well, he died at 78, but he died in 2020 at the age of 78. Also born on this day, Jim Morrison. The man himself, Jim Morrison of the band The Doors. Poet, born in Florida, arrested for drunken behavior in Florida. There's a great mugshot of him. You can always Google and find it. His dad was a rear admiral, so he always said that, my dad was his dad was a rear admiral in the Navy. He was lieutenant when he was young, but he became a rear admiral. Moved out to L.A., became a rock star, poet, very charismatic. Got arrested in Florida. Was going to go to jail. They were not going to let him out of it. Went to Paris and died. He died at the age of 28 in 1971. Still, the Doors are influential to this day. Also born on this day, Greg Allman of the Allman Brothers. He died at the age of 70 in 2017. Jimmy Frere of Molly Hatchet fame, 75 today. Phil Collin of Def Leppard, 68 today. Paul Rutherford of Frankie Goes to Hollywood, as I said, 67 today. Marty Fernand of Megadeth, 63 today. Sinead O'Connor, speaking of Saturday Night Live and ripping up the Pope. I met Sinead and got to hang out with Sinead O'Connor when I did the MC at the WOMAD Festival. She was just this little petite little thing, biting her nails. I'll never forget biting her nails, chain smoking, lighting one cigarette off the other. There's a really good picture of me with good old Sinead O'Connor. She died at the age of 57 in 2023. Corey Taylor of Slipknot is 52 today. Mark Zinner of the Yeah Yeah Yeahs is 51 today. Nicki Minaj, 43 today. Kim Basinger, 72 today. Still looks good at 72. Love that Hollywood charm. And Sam Kinison died at the age of 39. Sam Kinison screamed a lot. And then lastly, on the death list, David Carradine. He died at the age of 73. He was in Kill Bill, both 1 and 2. He was also in Kung Fu. He was Kwai Chang Caine. David Carradine. All right, so that's all the news that's fit to print on this day in rock and music history, my friends. I hope you appreciated all that good stuff. There was all sorts of fun and sad things that happened today. Amazingly, how many people died today. Don't forget to smash the like button. Tomorrow's my birthday, so I'm not sure what I do. I think record companies are hitmen or women. I know. Love is who I'm talking about. Wow, yeah. Sinclair Road, no longer there. Yes, they did. They ripped down the club. The Alrosa Villa was torn down in 2021, actually. It's now condos or some crap. Who knows what it is. We're good at tearing stuff down and building condos, which is fine. It's all good. It's all fine. But yes, El Rosa Villa, torn down where Dimebag Darrell was killed. But yeah, it's all good. You know, it is what happens. Unfortunately, such is life. Yes, record labels are hitmen. That's funny. That's funny. I find that to be hilarious because you never know. I mean, it could be. I don't know if they are or aren't. I'm not making any. I'm not making any judgments on record labels. Sorry, I didn't do it. UMG, don't. I mean, they are Universal Music Group, right? For a reason. Universe. That means that they're big. All right. I didn't look ahead, so I didn't cheat to see who was born tomorrow because the only thing that matters is me. Tomorrow's my birthday, so I don't know. I'll do something different tomorrow because I'm gonna try not to have to work tomorrow. I'm gonna take the day off. I'm gonna go to lunch. I'm gonna go to dinner. It's gonna be a day of Randy, just a day of pampering. No, not at all. I'm gonna go eat food. I'm gonna have lunch and dinner. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have a nice lunch and a nice dinner. No such thing as pampering. I don't get that bougie treatment. That's not me. So, you can tell by my glorious complexion. No. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that works out for me. All right. All right. Let's see. Morrison was a fun rebel. Yes. Cannonball Run. Yep. All of that stuff. It was a beautiful thing. Boopa. All right. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to let everybody go. Since we're not getting a ton of comments, except for everybody giving me all sorts of comments. I appreciate you. Remember, do good things for my birthday. That's my wish, okay? Do something randomly kind for someone tomorrow. It can be someone you know. It can be a complete stranger. Just do something randomly kind. It can be as easy as me letting the guy take the left turn in front of me today. We're turning into the same parking lot, and I could have easily just taken the right turn and gone, but, there was a lot of traffic coming, and I figured, all right, I'll just let this guy go in front of me. And he parked right next to me, and then he opened the door up as I was parking next to him. Like, bro, really? Like, I just let you, you could have not opened the door for like 2 more seconds. And then I was like, jackass. I did hold the door at the hardware store for him anyway. I didn't care. What are you going to do, right? All right. On that note. So that's my birthday wish. Do something kind for someone tomorrow. Just a random act of kindness with no motive of return on your investment. All right? Like I said, it can be someone you know. It doesn't have to be someone you know. Whatever you choose. Till then, be well. Appreciate you. Fade to black. Hmm.